Hello everyone, welcome to Blue Dragon Actual. Now today's video is a very interesting video and it's a kind of slightly different sort of video and related to the counseling and overall journey of an actual student or an actuary. Kind of you can say that it is kind of taken from my life or the people who have started actual journey with me and how they have kind of moved over different stages and how few people actually gave up at certain stages and few people kind of continued, right? And this is my kind of slightly more sarcastic or funny take on that, as well as being a realist, which I am already am, right? So I always give you the real picture. So combination of both of that, so some bit of sarcasm, some bit of realism, right? So this is what this presentation is all about: life stages of an actuary. And I hope whether you are an experienced person, whether you are a fresher, you will really enjoy and relate with this video. So these are the steps, I believe. First is your papa said so, right? That's how you kind of come into actuary. That papa said something. Then your friends kind of confirm what your papa has said, and then you get into actuary. Then you kind of realize, yeah, these are the experience that you are having, and what papa has said and friend has said. Probably there is something that is not matching up, and then few most of the people drop at this stage. The third stage, most of the people drop, and then who remains would probably kind of end up becoming a qualified actuary or do well in the actual field because they are driven by passion, right? Because they are driven by passion, and this is where you try to gauge what is going on and what you need to do to actually become an actuary, and it will be different from what papa says and friend says. Then your brain starts giving you pictures and signals on how you can improve. And final stage is the intuition, where you develop that intuition, where you see a problem and then you understand, yeah, this is where the root cause is, and if I go to that place, I'll be able to kind of finish the problem, right? So this is where you are trying to find the answer for why. So let us look at each of the step in detail. First is papa said so. Now for you, you might think that your papa is very good, very genius, etc., etc., but that is usually not the case. Parents are motivated by money. Whenever someone is, especially for if you are a female and someone is searching a boy for you for marriage, and you will see that your parents are motivated by money, how much that person is earning, irrespective of what character that person displays, whether that person is good or bad, whether he is involved in some shady business. But that's what not relatives look at or parents look at. Parents are only interested in money, right? Similarly, if you're doing well as compared to others, then your parents will be proud of you, no matter how bad the work you are doing there, right? So parents mentioned about actually because somewhere they learned in their office, their friends or someone in their close circle is doing actuary and is doing very well, probably better than themselves. So that's how they kind of understand about actuary, or learned about actuary, or your relatives have learned about actuary, right? So when I am saying papa said so, I'm clubbing that with your mom, your relatives, everyone, right? Every relative, your family, basically your close family. So that's how they get to learn about actuary, and then they are interested in this because of the higher package. They are not interested because of maths or stat, which usually they say, and then they try to hide their real intention. But they are actually interested in this because of package. That's the hard truth about Indian parents. Even my parents are like that, right? So that's how they are, right? And I think you can understand that. You have probably seen that already. This is the stage where they compare, right? They compare with my friend's son is doing MBA, but my friend's another son is doing actually he's earning more at this stage. So I think that is what my son or my daughter would be doing. Or I these days I've heard buzzword of AI and data science. Everyone is doing AI. Google is investing billions. Microsoft is investing trillions over AI. So maybe my son would do AI, but maybe it is difficult to get a job in AI or whatever. Maybe it's like everyone is doing AI. Maybe that is not relevant, but actually something which is maybe relevant. Maybe he's a CA and he is thinking actually something that is related to something like CA, some degree, kind of something like that, and some distance course. And maybe by that logic, since he's CA, he wants his son or daughter to do better than that person, and he thinks that actually might be that similar sort of course, but it will give more reward. So everywhere, parents or papa relatives, they think from reward perspective. They are not thinking from whether your aptitude can be matched with actually, but they are only think of whether you'd live a good life, and that's a great psychology, but it does not work all the time. The reason being, you might be very good in say cricket, but you may not have any aptitude for maths or actual, right? So you should continue with cricket and you can earn pros in cricket. So whatever you love, you should do that. You should take that as profession. But unfortunately, our parents cannot think in that manner, and they think only for your benefit. But sometimes what they think might not be correct. Moving on. So this is what it actually represent, or this stage actually represent. This is a greedy motive. You are kind of like, if you are following actually because of that, then you are actually following in the footsteps of the greediness that your parents or relative has displayed, right? You do not have any knowledge, or maybe very limited knowledge about actually at this stage, but just because your parents have said something, and throughout your life, throughout your teenage, you have only you know that you have seen Hindi movies saying that you have to follow your parents. That is a good thing. That is also kind of proclaimed in the Indian society. So you cannot be a rebel. You thought of choosing actually because your papa has said so, right? But the real motive behind papa saying this is a greedy motive, right? I hope you can understand that. Now, your papa has already said something about actually, now there is a heroic friend who is your kind of, your idol, someone who has done very well in academics as compared to you, or maybe at the same level as you are, right? And that person is also supporting what papa has said. And that person is actually is kind of mentioning that, yeah, he knows a hypothetical person who is earning 1 crore at 23 years, or who is settled in US, and who is like who has purchased a house, etc., something like that, or maybe at 25 years he has done that. So that person is also kind of saying that doing actually can get you to that package, or get you that salary, or give you a luxurious life, right? And also he mentions about maths and stat, but so you understand, yeah, I like maths and stat, but that is not your real motive. The real motive is you are going to earn higher package, right? Maths and stat is just the hygiene factor here. And that is something you like, and you are getting that. But you know that if you put your mind into one thing, if you study for papers, you are going to do well, you are going to clear papers. That's how your historical trend has been. You have done good academically, so you believe that same thing can be applied here. And because also your heroic friend is supporting that, your papa has said good things about actually, you now have a confidence that, yeah, I am going to earn 1 crore by the age of 23. I am going to become a fellow. I am going to clear all my papers by 23. This At this point of time, you had idea that there are 30 papers in actually, and you can clear that paper because you have cleared so many papers in your life. So that is not something which is new. Once again, the motive here is greedy motive, another greedy motive. So till this stage, most people would be kind of interested in actually, maybe out of 100 people, say all 100 would remain till this stage. Papa said so, 100 people, and friend said so, 100 people will still be there, right? So the motive behind is kind of the greedy motive, but these are usually disguised in terms of like, I love maths and stats. That's the usual thing that people say in an interview. I have seen hundreds and thousands of kind of candidates saying that, which they actually do not mean. They only want to do this because of the package, the salary, what has been kind of mentioned to them, and they compare this with the other field, like I mentioned, the purpose, so like MBA, or maybe master degree, and they think that actually will give them higher dividends, so that's why they are doing that. But they are actually not interested in maths or stat, right? Because if they are interested in maths and stat, they might be doing a PhD. That would give them much more deeper understanding of maths and stat rather than doing actually. So that's a different thought process, and people are usually greedy, and that's why they're doing it. Now, there is no harm in kind of being greedy. There is no harm in trying to earn money, trying to earn 1 crore by 23 years age. There are many people who are actually doing that. But if you start actually thinking like that, then you are going to land yourself into trouble. Then you are having a wrong expectation about something. Actually, is a field that will give you dividend over long term, not at such an early age, right? So this is where the experience kicks in. You cleared three papers, you realize both papa and friend are incorrect. you realize that you are not getting jobs even after clearing three papers. In fact, people who have three times more paper is kind of running jobless and is thinking of leaving actually, because the moment a person who has good academic record, who has never seen failure in their life, hits with one or get hit with one or two failures, like he or she appeared for a couple of interviews and got rejected because he felt that or she felt that the paper knowledge would be sufficient. But the first question that was asked in the interview was outside paper. That is an outside syllabus question, and he or she thinks that, "Oh, how can I answer this question? This was not given in the book," right? And you get that failure, you get that feeling of failure for the first time, and you realize, no, I should be better off doing an MBA. There is no point in doing actually. Coupled with the fact that you are only getting maybe 4 lakhs or 5 lakhs package at the start, or maybe not even a full time job but a internship, you think that this, Papa and Fred both are wrong. I am not clearing the interviews. At the same time, I am not getting the package. Everything was kind of miscommunicated to me, and I don't want to continue this job. This is where most of the people drops out. So out of that 100 that I started, like those people who are very interested, I can say around 50% of those will drop at this stage. So from 100 it will straight away come to 50, right? And this is where the reality kicks in, right? This is the realism portion. This is where you realize that papers are not enough. You need to have knowledge, right? You need to have knowledge beyond papers, which is something that I have proclaimed so many times. And talking about knowledge, this Dashera, we are now launching our first course on knowledge, which is beyond papers, right? We call that Sparkle One, and there will be 8 topics which would be kind of beyond, which will be on life insurance sector, which will be beyond what is kind of taught in books, which is where we bridge the gap between fresher and the experienced person. Right? Now this is the stage where you need to bridge that gap, right, between the fresher and experienced person. Like I mentioned, passion sets so, right? By this time, most of your friends have moved to MBA or any other field. MBA being the easier field because you can write CAT or GMAT, you can move to MBA, right? And doing an MBA means that you will get a good package, a reasonable package. I can say that because I have done MBA myself, right? And you can at least in today's world, you can at least expect a package of 9 to 10 lakhs if you are doing MBA from a good college, right? And that's a good package as compared to actually where you are starting with a package of 5 lakhs or 4.5 lakhs, right? Or somewhere it might be even 3 lakhs, and you have to do an MBA where you're only getting maybe 30,000 a month, and that is also on the higher side, right? So that you are although you are not comparing apple to apple because MBA is a complete course. So MBA is a 2 year course. You are completing MBA and then you are getting that package. However, in actually you are not completing actually. You have just done with 3 papers and you are comparing that package with MBA. So you are not comparing apple to apple. But at that stage, who cares about that maturity? You are just once again you have a greedy motive, right? So you are running after things that is kind of glittering, right? You are running after things that is paying you money, and in doing that you are losing the potential that you could have reached, right? But because you are running after money, you are losing your potential. But at the same time, that is not bad. If your family condition is bad, if your financial condition is bad, then that is something that you need to do. However, if you like if you not like if you can get food at the end of your day, if your parents can provide for that, then you have the ability to take some risk, and you should take that risk if your passion says so. If you're passionate about one thing, right, then you understood that most of your friends love money more than math. This is where that reality kicks in. And like the papa and friends, right? So because your papa and friends also like maths and also like money more than maths, and you most of your friends, those 50 people who have dropped off, right, they also like money more than maths. But you are staying in that field because you see this as a challenge. How can in my life I have done so well in academically. How can this challenge come and I cannot overcome this challenge? How can this happen, right? If you see that actually like that, and if you are only an like I used to say, or like I say that this is a stupidity or illogicality keeps it. Now this is not a bad thing. Any person who has done some wonders in the world, some big things, maybe for example, suppose someone has kind of discovered gravity, someone has sent something in space, they are completely stupid people, right? Like, the Apple founder said, Steve Jobs said, like, stay hungry, stay foolish, right? So that means you have to kind of stay stupid, right? To determine the illogical things that you can do in life. That is what which gives you, the strength to move ahead. So that strength is very important, because most logical people will give up when they most logical people will try to do things that has already been done, and they would try to do it better. But illogical people or stupid people will try to develop something that has not been done before, right? And in doing that, they are taking huge amount of risk. But if that risk pays off, and that risk will pay off because you are passionate about something. If you are passionate about something, you will not stop at a certain stage. You will try to go over it. You will try to figure out why something is not working, right? And that is why that why comes into picture. You know that you have to reach level 10, and right now you are maybe at level 2. Need to understand why you are at level 2 and why someone else is at level 10. How can you reach from level 2 to level 10? So this is where illogicality, stupidity kicks in, because without that you cannot be, maybe once in a lifetime person, right? If you are logical, then you can only be someone who is like everyone else, maybe some maybe in some way some better. But if you want to be once in a generation person, then you have to be stupid. You have to think of stupid dreams, and you have to make them a reality, right? So only very few people who are passionate enough would stay in this field. So I think out of, we started with 100, and right now I think only 30 people would be here who would be passionate enough to see those challenges, to stay with those challenges, to improve themselves, and then finally to overcome those challenges, right? Moving on. So then that there would be the brain set. So now you know that Papa, although Papa कहते हैं कि बड़ा नाम करेगा, but Papa don't know himself, or relatives don't know how to make it actually big, and because they have not probably made it that big, they want you to make it big. They want you to leave their dream or make their dream come true. So they don't know, but somewhere you also don't know, because once again you are only passionate. You don't know the how to get to that level, how to get to that big level, how to get to that 1 crore package or whatever, right? But now you understand that papers are not it. That is clear to you, because the very first question that you were asked in the interview is something which is beyond papers, or something which requires you to think on your feet, right? So you start talking to people who are experienced in this field, and they show you a real picture, instead of before, as compared to before, maybe you are maybe talking to your relatives or friends. Now you are talking to people who have been there, done that, right? And now you are trying to, maybe in your first internship, or maybe you have joined some company, you are at the junior most level, but you are talking with someone who is at senior level, who maybe have years of work ex, and that person is giving you a realistic picture. Now in this case also, there might be many people who themselves are not clear, who themselves are kind of thinking that I have wasted 10 years in, actually I want to move into some different field. If you talk with that sort of person, then you obviously are not going to get a different picture or correct picture, right? But if you talk with the right person, and that is very important, right person, you need to talk with the right person, because as I mentioned, you might be very good in cricket, right? And that right person would need to tell you, hey, this is not the field for you. You need to go back to cricket. You can't be an actuary, because your dream, your passion lies there. You are here because of someone else, because of your papa said so, because of your friend said so, but you belong to some different field, different profession. You go there, you will do very good there, right? So that is also important. If someone tells you to leave actually, someone should tell you to leave actually for the right reason. If someone tell you to continue with actually, that person should tell you with the right reason, right? Give you the right reason. And this is when logic kicks in. So till now you are passionate, right? And that's why you have stood with the challenge. That's why you have withstood any challenge that has come in your way. But this is where you're building the logic, how to overcome that challenge and possibly go much beyond, right? And finally, the final stage is learning to ask questions, right? You are learning why this is happening, why reserve increases when mortality kind of increases, when can reserve decrease when mortality increases, why the premium endowment is higher than whole life, etc. Right? Why IBNet is kept, all the whys, right? Until and unless you get clear with those twice. Now your knowledge is beyond books, at least in some areas, right? Maybe not be in all areas, but in some areas your knowledge is you're beyond book. You are getting clarity over what is written in the books. Once again, books are written by people so that it can be understood by overall an average person, right? An average section of audience. But you need to perform much better than an average person to be a good actuary, right? So that's why you need your knowledge need to go beyond books. And some answers you will get now. Like I can tell you when I under try to understand why in profit policies, with profit policies or participating policies, 90% of the profit is given to the policyholder. Why? Right? And I asked many people who are fellow, people. Some people gave me wrong answer as well for that, and I understood that this answer is not correct because it's not making sense to me. Right? So I waited for that for around 1.5 years until someday it struck me that this is the reason. Right? I already made a video on that, so you can search my channel for that. You can get to know the reason. So why participating policies 90% of the profit is given policyholder and insurer still write participating policies, right? Because there is no sense if you give 90% of the profit to the policyholder. So that is where you need to ask the question why. Some answers will be evident to you at that point of time, and some answers you'll not get at that point of time, but you might have to wait for some years, but you'll not settle. You'll not settle for maybe an absurd answer or maybe an incorrect answer or partial answer. You want to know the truth, and this is where the difference comes between a good actuary and the best actuary or the better actuary, right? And I can tell you, out of those 30 people who are passionate enough, who are logical enough to continue the actuary, only 5 or 6 people would be intuitive enough to continue the actuary. Only those 5 or 6 actuaries out of those 100 that we started would have the thought process and the knowledge about why something is not happening the way it is, because he has or she has been in that situation for enough number of times, and she has that maybe peace of mind, and she or he knows that if he gets into a difficult situation, sooner or later he's going to find the answer for that why, and is going to come out of it, right? He is going to explain to his managers or to his seniors or to his juniors, to his juniors, why something is happening, right? So that is where you became the best actuary, or your path towards becoming the world best actually starts, right? And only 5 or 6 people would have the ability to reach this stage. Most people would give up at the logical stage. Finally, this is where you know that you are in the right profession. So you can see that from that Papa said so, starting to that intuition said so, there are 5 steps, or there are 6 steps. This is the 6th one, right? There are 6 steps that you have to overcome to finally know that if you are in the right profession. So if you are confused when you are at 20 years age or 21 years age, it is very likely that you should be confused. When I was confused, I had no idea what actually at that point of time, and I did MBA, right? And I felt that MBA is not the course for me, because MBA is not about knowledge; it's about personality development. Once again, I made a video on MBA versus actually. You can see that it's a long video, right? So you can see that, and you can probably forward that to your papa as well, if they are kind of telling you to MBA. Right? So this is where you know that you are in the right profession. And most people, even in the logical phase as well, people would not be able to understand or can claim with certainty they are in the right profession. But once you reach this stage, you would already know that you are better than the rest, right? And now it's a competition with yourself. Earlier you were competing with many people, you are competing with the average people to come at least at the average level. Now it's a competition with yourself, how better you can make yourself, right? And in that doing so, you need to learn coding, you need to learn the multitasking, etc., for which I again made a video how to be a highest paid actually, right? So you need those skill set to be a highest paid actually. But this is where you realize that you are in the right profession. So in case you need to connect with me, now you can obviously connect with me in LinkedIn. Most people connect with me in LinkedIn. I also have a WhatsApp group which is kind of given there in the description, right? And you can connect with me there as well. But if you believe that you have a unique case, and maybe you are also some bit of experienced person, right? So we have this course which is present in this website, which is our website, bluedragonuniverse.in, which is introduction to actually. This is completely free. This is for freshers. We also have FAQ section for freshers, right? And these are completely free. But even after that, if you believe that, and you might be an experienced person as well, but if you believe that I would be able to help you in some manner, then this is a paid session, right? You can purchase this course, and our team will contact you with the Zoom details and my timing, and you can connect with me for 60-minute one-to-one session, and you can explain your situation, and I can give my solution to that, right? Best possible solution as per me, right? Sometimes you might be, kind of okay with it, sometimes you may not be okay with it, but that's what you have to kind of accept, right? So if you want, you can book a session with me, and at least I can tell you that I'll not misguide you. So as I mentioned, like, if I believe that you would be better off doing something else, I'd not kind of put you into Actuary so that I can sell my courses to you. If I believe that you should be doing something else, then I will say that to you. If I believe that you should stay in Actuary, then I should tell that to you. So that's what you get with me, honesty and nothing else. Rest are kind of side effects of me being honest. So if you like this video, please hit the like button. This is an interesting video, and I believe that you should share this with your friends, especially if you're fresher, with your parents, especially they are suggesting actually or something else, right? And yeah, please hit the like button. If you are seeing this video for the first time, consider subscribing to my channel, and see you in future videos.